I'm opening up sort of my personal artworks, which happen to be in the form of bioregional cartographies and some related things like proclamations by the people, bioregional proclamations by the people. This is a small sampling of actually what I've been busy for over 10 years doing. We have actually a growing worldwide collection of maps that actually have movements on the move in the Amazon with the Mayan people. The North Sea bioregion just proclaimed today with a big ceremony. There's actually 8 gatherings like this, 10 gatherings in 8 bioregions around the world today that are all working off the same kind of bioregional maps and proclamations by the people that have been adapted in these other locations. And very quickly, these other locations, just so you know, we're not alone. We're, one of many in a way, but or it's a few to begin with. So kind of from north to south in the Americas, there's 6 bioregional activation gatherings that are happening today. And then there's one that already happened in Europe, because they're 9 hours ahead, and one that already happened in Asia. And I'll come back to them, but in the Americas, we are the northernmost bioregion that's sort of gathering together and activating, and later we'll be down at Swanage Point Park from 6 to 9, just relaxing by the water and sharing music, and a good time down there in sunset at 8:36 for those who care to join. I encourage you. I think it's going to be a beautiful evening down there, down by the Squalicum Boathouse, but a little bit more towards the water down there. Really easy parking. Thank you for braving the challenges of downtown Bellingham parking. So going north to south, the Salish Sea bioregion is here, and now today. Then we go south in Sedona, Arizona, the Verde Valley watershed. There's a beautiful group of Hopi elders. In all of these gatherings around the world, there is generally a rather high level of indigenous people and leadership in all of these gatherings. And actually, I'm going to come back to something in a minute, but so in Sedona, Arizona, the Verde Valley watershed that is tributary to the Colorado River shed. There's actually a group there that with new bioregional vision maps, also starting the process of possibly renaming the Colorado River as Aha Makav, or such other name as the inhabitants of that bioregion should choose, but at least as a placeholder name for now, to just kind of try and break the logjam of the color red being the name of the river in Spanish, which probably has nothing to do with the name of the river. And so we have to, change our words, change our life. One of the things I found in my journey of bioregional cartography, and I mentioned to people sometimes, one of the things, in the process of colonialism and so forth, that the powers of the world a few hundred years ago really knew, and why the two kind of most powerful people on the ship were the captain and the cartographer, was that mapping and naming was claiming. And that was the first thing they did whenever they came to a new place. They mapped it all, they put their names all over it, usually after the Queen, the King, their friends, the people on the boat, like Captain Bellingham, Admiral Vancouver, the guy Rainier who was on the boat. They just put those names all over the place, which disconnected everybody from the lands, the waters, the life, the animals. And then furthermore, 100 years ago, the straight lines got put on the maps, arbitrary, man-made, not bioregional, right? Bioregional extents, I don't even necessarily want to call them boundaries, but the extents, bioregional, are natural extents. And you'll see in most of the maps and works I do, it's usually around the watershed as the extents, defining it at all the different levels: pond shed, creek shed, lake shed, river shed, sea shed, coastal watershed. But as you'll be hearing from Brandon later, Cascadia is hydrogeological, but it's also relates to the vegetation type of temperate rainforest. So there are other ways, migratory routes of animals. That's the beauty of bioregional lensing and viewpoints, is just very adaptable, infinitely scalable, adaptable, and it's whatever it means to you, right? At the simplest level, bioregion is life, place. So whatever that means to you. There's so many people who tried to make definitions for it, but I think one of the beauties of it is you just can't pin it down, and it just mainly has to come out of the inhabitants. So I So I just want to mention, we're going to, just to give you a little sense of what's ahead for the time we have here.
What were the other bioregions? You didn't finish the list.
Sorry?
What were the other bioregions?
Oh, boy, thanks for keeping me on track, John. So, I digress. So, the Sedona bioregion, Aha-Makav bioregional sanctuary, Colorado Rivershed. Then we go down south, the Mayan people, the Yucatan Peninsula, the Usumacinta Rivershed, up and over the Chiapas Highlands to the Pacific Ocean. So that basically the traditional extent of the Mayan civilization, which we know by where the pyramids are. So they've been going through a big process in spring when we all met in Palenque, and they're really doing it. It's amazing. And they're all at a pyramid and gardens in the Yucatan, and they are having an incredible day proclaiming, and they have the proclamation all done in Spanish with their words, very similar, but they redid it over the last many months, and they're really proclaiming the Maya bioregional sanctuary down in that area. It's really encouraging. Then down in Amazonia, actually there's one more before south, is in the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, is the Spanish name, but what they call it, the indigenous people there, is Ganawindua bioregion. It's a triangular base-shaped pyramidal mountain where maybe some of you know the Mamos live there, the Arhuaco and Kogi peoples, and Kankwamo and Wiwa people who have been there they're some of the very few undisturbed pre-Columbian civilizations that are still intact and still living pretty closely to their traditional life and a very deep spiritual practice, very ingrained in nature. They have 8 or more Mamos today, praying and blessing and doing pagamentos for all 8 bioregions, for all of you, and for themselves, but they're always thinking of others first. So that's pretty amazing. And all of these Mamos spent 9 of their first 14 years of life deep in a cave, communing with Mother Earth and establishing a psychic umbilical cord. So they're pretty serious meditators and blessers of things. So there's the Mamos, Ganawindua, then Amazonia, the Secopai Nation, up in the northwesternmost part of the Napo Rivershed, which is tributary to the Amazon, along with the Marañón and Ucayali riversheds that confluence at Iquitos. They're way up there, very remote, very biodiverse, still living, very much with the jungles of the Amazon there, and they only come together, all their people, from around once a year, and they decided to do it today. So they're all together with all their chiefs, all their people, and they are recognizing and proclaiming their Rivershed bioregion, and then in the context of the Amazonia bioregion, and they have a beautiful ceremony, and it's very serious. And they recently got a huge amount of their land back after 25 years of battling it out in court and stuff, and then they're part of what they're talking about today is getting some more of it back. But very interesting, biodiverse, beautiful ceremonies going there. And then down in Bolivia, the Cochabamba Valley, there's a gathering of Aymara elders and others, and they're proclaiming and praying and blessing and saying thanks for all these things. And then down in Tahuantinsuyu, which was the traditional extent of the Inca civilization, they are doing this in Cordoba, Argentina, and there's a beautiful gathering there. So those are the 6 bioregions that are all doing this today. They're all doing it out of this kind of collection of maps that I now kind of refer to, and you can see at a website called sanctuary.earth. Pretty soon, probably all of the maps will be up there. There's probably about a third of them all now, but you'll see they span all around the world. Here, we're more focused on our rivershed, our seashed, and our continental watersheds for today's gallery display here. But when you have time, you could go there. Then I mentioned one bioregion in Europe and one in Asia is kind of already done this work today. The one in Europe is the North Sea bioregion, which is about 7 nation states that border on the North Sea. And in Amsterdam, they had this. They had a small gathering. They did their proclamation. They got their first 25 signatures. But I would not be surprised if by sometime next year they have more than 1 million signatures. So they kind of, and also all these people today at 8 a.m. this morning did a thing called Lighting the 8th Fire, which is something you could look up when you have time. It's something that's sort of on the move and rather interesting and create some good conversations like we had this morning, 8 of us around the fire in my backyard. We had a beautiful little ceremony and conversation. So the North Sea Bioregion, and then in Asia, it was actually the Kingdom of Thailand. There was a temple filled with Buddhist monks, members of the royal family of the Kingdom of Thailand. Chief Phil Lane Jr., a friend of ours, was there kind of, and then with the maps that I and my team made for the Kingdom of Thailand Bioregional Sanctuary and watersheds, they had several dozen Buddhist monks in saffron robes praying and blessing them with the royal family, and I believe it's on TV all over Thailand. So that's happening. So anyway, every area is just doing it in their own beautiful way, and thank you so much for taking time out of your Thursday to be here, and I just really appreciate it. This is the first of many. So I want to mention we're going to all kind of walk this bioregional vision wall. Brandon and I are going to kind of try and unveil some things that maybe didn't meet the eye when you just looked through it. We're going to try and move through it fairly quickly, and then we're going to come back here and we're going to open up the mic, and we want to hear from everyone here who'd care to share. Sort of like a public comment period at a city council meeting, but like way more interesting and on a much better topic. And I'd like you all just to keep in mind when you come back to share, if you could really kind of try and answer this question in, 2, 3, a few minutes. So everyone has time to share, but if you think about what is your answer to the following question, which is, what does nature want, and what does nature want to have happen through us? So that's gonna be the next couple of steps of our time together. Once we have heard from everybody, we're gonna open up the Salish Sea Bioregional Proclamation by the people for signing, for whoever might like to sign. On the TV over there, is it very big? In the box there, if anyone would like to have copies, you can read it in about 3 minutes, 4 minutes if you haven't already. And it's just open for those who feel moved and wanna be one of the first 88 people in the Salish Sea Bioregion out of 8 million people to sign that document, which I believe by sometime next year, more than 1 million members of the Salish Sea Bioregion will have signed this. In blue ink, face to face. We're not gonna do this digital collectivism, we're gonna do this the old-fashioned way, which will take more time, but it's gonna be a lot more beautiful. And it's gonna have a lot more impact, and that's why it's gonna endure for maybe the next 1,000 years or more. So I made one little mistake in my enthusiasm to kind of unveil our itinerary. So there'll be the proclamation signing. There'll probably, and then Brandon at some point is going to give a little keynote presentation. He is like the master of Cascadia, which is the bigger bioregion, which the Salish Sea is sort of the heart and the center of it. So bioregions, there are bioregions within bioregions within bioregions. And I like to say to some people that, like, from the perspective of a ladybug, a tree is a bioregion. So not always looking at it from the human scale and level, but even from animal perspectives, a squirrel family, a little forest enclave could be a bioregion. So Brandon there's so much inside his head that and you're just gonna get a little glimpse of it, but I think you're gonna really find it interesting. He's gonna have a little like TED Talk for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to be kind of organic and just figure what happens from there while people are proclamation signing. Everyone will just talk with each other. We'll just see what arises. Maybe someone wants to share a talent, a song, a music of some kind, whatever arises. But so that's kind of the general way. And then at 6 p.m., we're going to kind of try and get back on schedule. Those who want to, we're going to go down to Zwanich Point Park and enjoy sunset and hanging out and kind of bring your own picnic, pick up a little food or something, or thermos with a little wine or whatever you want, and let's go down and hang out and enjoy sunset together on 8/8/2024, which is another 8/8. It's the Lion's Gate for those of you who tap into astrology type things. And according to some people, this is the absolute best day of the year to initiate something new, a new idea, a new vision, a new beginning at the personal, family, community, or even global level. So that just gives you a little roadmap. But before we walk the vision wall together, the bioregional vision wall together, the thing I left out in the enthusiasm to speak with you is we're supposed to start with the welcome to the land, which Kathy Ballou agreed to do with us. She's an elder of Lummi Nation, Lochtamish, as they call themselves. Lummi is what we call them, I've been taught, and she's been a good friend. She's worked with Nicole and I and been at the Salish Sea Ecosystem conferences and other things from the beginning, and she's just a beautiful elder with leader in the culture of Lummi Nation. So I just wanted to invite Kathy up to say some words and welcome everyone to the room. Swirling waters, mini Shosha, mini water, Shoshe swirling. Some of you have heard mini Wichoni, water is life. But this name of this river, to the people who live there, the Buffalo people, Buffalo Nation, is mini Shoshe. So this is mini Shoshe bioregion. And if you notice, it's easier and bigger cell, it's actually the shape of a bison. There's the head, the horn, the 2 feet, the big shoulder, and the little butt. So it's actually the shape of a bison, which is pretty cool because it was the heart of bison territory traditionally. And that's about 20% of the United States in one watershed. And it's the absolute center. It's the actual center and heart of Turtle Island. And you see the turtle, the head of the turtle, kind of the paw, the shell, the 2 feet, and the tail. Right? That's why they call it the Turtle Island. But how did they know it was in the shape of a turtle? 1,000 years ago, one of the great mysteries. But it's like in the shape of a turtle. They called it Turtle Island. And their creation story was about the great turtle, and you can look into that. So that's interesting. Once again, vision statement, restore natural animal populations throughout our bioregions to more than 50% of historic levels as soon as possible. We could be the first bioregion, the Salish bioregion, to even say that we want to achieve this and make this a law, or whatever we want to call it. We could be the first, and we may even be the first to achieve it. But even if we're just the first to say, proclaim, this is what we want, and we agree to work together to implement this, that could end up inspiring everyone throughout the rest of the country. No one else has aspired to something like this yet. And this is the portal through which this becomes achievable. I believe this is basically not achievable through the municipal corporation and nation state lens and consciousness that we have been indoctrinating. You know, some people call it the Matrix, like in the movie, right? And it kind of is, right? It's the Matrix. Well, how do you get to Zion, you know, for the movie metaphor, right? Well, it's all around you. It's just you have to somehow open the key to the portal that is inside our brain to transform everything around us into that. So I believe that watershed consciousness is that portal, the love of the animals and doing it for them, not for ourselves. Even though we are animals, but we're domesticated animals. I'm talking about the free-living natural animals. Some people call them wild animals. I like to think of them as free-living natural animals. Because wild is like a little scary or something. They're free-living natural animals. They're beautiful, incredible beings that deserve to live for their own reason, not maximum sustainable yield, the way the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea says how we manage the oceans, and all the nation states have agreed in writing, and they are legally bound by their convention to manage the oceans for maximum sustainable yield for humans. And no one knows it, and it's like, it's almost demonic. That's their aspirational goal. And it's from a certain point of view, it is truly demonic. But it shows up in the grocery store, and it's $19.99 a pound, and that seems okay, you know, because we're disconnected. So it's through this we become connected, we become knowledgeable, and I believe that's one of the things that we need to do. You know, with all the doom scrolling on Facebook and all the distractions of our debts and our worries and things, we only spend about 1% of our time thinking about animals, talking about animals, learning about animals. And I think that's not the right percentage. I think humanity would be well served to invest more than 33% of their time, their words, their actions and deeds relating to the natural world and nature, and is a belief of mine. And I think even philanthropy, less than 3% of philanthropy goes to all the environment, all the animals put together. And one of those 3% is cats and dogs, which is like humans. So it's 98% of even philanthropy and charity goes to human causes. I mean, even the best, brightest, most generous of us are insanely anthropocentric. And it starts by realizing that, and then just aspiring to do it differently. But it starts with agreements with ourselves, with each other, and so this, if you apply this to Turtle Island, and then if you expand that to all of the so-called Americas, and some continental theories say this is one continent, some say it's two. When the Panama Canal came through, it kind of cut them in two, but before that, it was all connected. But whatever the theory, you know, we call the Americas, What the indigenous people in South America are calling it these days, in growing numbers by the millions, is Abya Yala, which means continent of life. It has some other meanings. It comes from the Cunayala people in so-called Panama originally, but it's been spreading all around South America. It hasn't really gotten very widespread yet, but this is a name that is kind of on the move for the America, Abya Yala, North and South America, etc. So by starting to call it this, I think it helps. And then this is showing you all points of water closer to Abya Yala than any other continents. So this would be the Bioregional Oceanic Protectorate for all of Abya Yala, which someday could view themselves as one big community made up of lots of thousands of other sub-communities. That's the beauty of watershed consciousness, the scalability of it. So instead of, neighborhood, village, town, city, county, state, province, nation, that's the municipal corporation, colonial capitalism stack of what you're allowed to think of as your communities. Well, over here, pond sheds, creek sheds, lake sheds, sub-river sheds, river shed, tributary sheds, river sheds, coastal watersheds, and then macro bioregional watersheds, like this. It's a choice. And it's actually a choice between fear and love. It's actually that simple. And there's a great video by Bill Hicks I'd recommend you all watch sometime, talking about the choice between fear and love. And I believe this is about love. And that's how this will prevail. Because if we do, remember that we're doing it for the animals, and it's just an unconditionally loving thing, just like the animals teach us, like that dog, which is my dog, Firefox, everybody. I mean, that's how we learn unconditional love, from our beautiful dog, people. And just all the animals, it's love, and that's what we want to live with. It's not about debt, and debts, which the system, pay your bills, you're going to lose your house. We're like, made to do that. So I just think we want to get back to basics. Clean water for all the animals, human and non-human, clean air to breathe, truly healthy, wholesome, organic food to eat. How easy is it to find organic food out in the restaurants nowadays? Almost impossible. They don't even try. We could make it the law of our land to have more, on the Proclamation, to make more than 50% of our bioregional foods come from truly ethical, organic sources. We could make that the law. And then it would be widely available, and it would be affordable because it's at scale. I'd like to be able to eat organic food outside of my household. It's not genetically engineered and filled with glyphosate, disrupting our gut biome and making us chubby. We got a chubby thing going on.